Like what I hear both you guys saying is like that you're not judging anyone. You're just like, you're accepting who they are and what they want to do and just letting them live your life as you live yours as well, which I just think is like what the whole world needs to do more of, like less judging and just more love and kindness, which you guys radiate everywhere. Just so you know.
Says you.
Yeah, says you, first of all. You're the sweetest person I've ever met. But Cait, actually, I visited her when she was studying abroad in Australia, and she said something really cool to me there that I still think about, is how in Australia, when you're meeting someone like at a party or out at a bar, it never really comes up about what do you do. Like that's never really a first question. It's not like, oh, what's your job? Oh, clearly you must be this kind of person since you do this kind of job. It was just like, oh, tell me about yourself. Like, what do you enjoy about life? What time of day do you like? You know what I mean? Like very just questions about
you make your eggs in the morning.
yeah, exactly. And that was that's something where when I went on dates in the future on a very like minute thing, I thought about that because I was like, wow, like I mean, obviously it matters what you do to a certain extent because like, if you're a tax collector isn't bad either.
We have a best friend.
If you're an assassin, maybe that's fun stories, but I don't know if our morals align.
I don't know if we have a lot in common.
Morals doesn't really matter, but it can affect your life a little bit. And it was a cool way to think about it because I was always so career focused. Like I wanted to make a lot of money. I wanted to like go and, run a business kind of thing. Not even to say that's true, but I just had a different perspective about it. And Cait pointing that out in Australia a few years ago is kind of what we're talking about, where it's like people are so much more than just one part of them, and why judge them?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the One World Countless Stories podcast with me, Selina Novello. Today, I have three very special guests. So we have Cait from New York, and we have Colleen and Julia from Virginia, right?
Hi.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm very excited, but we actually met in, where did we meet? Montenegro. We met in Europe. I was gonna say Greece, but we met in Montenegro. We were on a Royal Caribbean cruise and our paths crossed, and then ever since then we were a package deal, and we did a lot of fun things together, and they made my trip really, really special. So I'm just so excited to reconnect with you guys, and I'm gonna let you introduce yourselves individually. So let's start with Cait. Why don't you go first?
I don't want to mess anything up. Okay, but hi everyone, I'm Cait. I am so excited to be here on Selina's podcast. This is my first podcast appearance, which is rude because Julia and Colleen also have a podcast, but they've never put me on it. But like Selina said, I'm from New York, but I've known Julia and Colleen for years. And like we said, I met Selina this summer on a cruise. And I'm just excited to be here. What else do I have to say? Fun facts?
Fun fact about you. What do you do for work? And a fun fact.
Okay. I'm a Pisces, and I work at MTV in social media. I do like different TV shows, social media accounts, which is really fun. I love cats. I live in Brooklyn. I've lived in New York City for 6 years, and it's my favorite city. That's where I want to live forever. Things I like to read. I like tattoos. I like traveling, and that's about it.
Awesome. We got a full view of you. That's awesome. Thank you so much. All right, next, Colleen.
All right. Hi, my name's Colleen. I'm from Chicago originally, but I lived in like a bunch of different places before that. But Chicago is just what I say because it makes it a lot easier because I lived there the longest. But I live in Virginia now. I coach kids how to sail. Right now, I'm coaching people on sonar, so that's been a lot of fun. I live with Julia. Say hi, Julia.
Hello.
And I'm a Virgo.
Awesome. And what's one fun fact about you other than that you're a Virgo?
My one fun fact is that I can dislocate my right shoulder on cue now.
Do it.
That's right. I remember you telling me that when we first met. You were very excited about it.
It's like my coolest thing about me.
Yes. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much. Okay, Julia, you're next.
I'm Julia. I'm a Leo. I'm Colleen's roommate. Colleen, say hello.
Hello.
I love sports, specifically water sports, no other sports. It's just really water sports. So when I say that, that's what I mean. I love being active. I just recently got my toe cleared, so I've been doing physical therapy and running, goals to run a marathon. Current project that I'm working on is rowing across the ocean. However, it's 2 years out and I probably will pick up a new fad before then, which is very on par for how I tend to live my life. I also love traveling and tattoos, and I love my cat, and my favorite color is gray blue.
Ooh, awesome. That was a great introduction. I love that. All right. So I want to ask right off the bat about a little bit about how you guys met each other and how you guys know each other. So I don't know who wants to take over. I know Cait said a little bit about it, but Julia?
I'll definitely take over this.
Go ahead, Julia.
So Cait and I met when I was 12 and she was 13, 7th and 8th grade. And we did this thing called sending school program for the high school we would eventually go to's musical theater program. So we basically met doing musicals together. Cait and I have done like 6 musicals together, and which is funny because I haven't done one since I stopped doing them with her. But it was awesome, and we danced our way through life and still do until I bumped into Colleen with my microphone, and we actually hated each other for the first day that we met because
we casted Colleen in the musical that is our lives.
I got casted. I made it cut. Yeah.
Supporting actress number 3.
But Colleen and I met sailing for college here in Virginia, which is where we now live as roommates. But I'm also, actually, I should have thrown that in, from New Jersey. So both came from
Okay, awesome. And tell us a little bit more how you didn't like Colleen at the beginning.
Well,
How did it happen?
so Julia, our freshman year, everyone else lived in dorms besides Julia. She lived in a house with upperclassmen because she's so cool. And so on the first night, we were having a big party with all of our teammates at the house. And me and Julia were the first freshmen to arrive. So we got to be the captains for the game and we got to pick our teammates. But it was the first night, so I didn't really know anyone's names. And me being the trusting, loving person I am, asked Julia for someone's name. And she just kept giving me the wrong people's names. And on purpose, too. And so Julia thought she was being the funniest person in the world. But nervous Colleen, who didn't know anyone, was like, this bitch. Like, what the heck? Like, this is not... Like, but now we're best friends.
But then Colleen actually, the way we ended up being friends is that night we all... totally did not go to the bars because that would be illegal. So we didn't do that. But theoretically, had we done that, and theoretically, had I possibly gotten kicked out for being too happy. Allegedly, happy, quotation marks. Colleen was tasked with the role of taking me home and showering me. This person she
got happy all over her.
I was so happy I had to get it out of my body, you know.
That is the best way to explain your guys' relationship. I love that so much. Okay, so now we're gonna jump to Cait a little bit, and I want to talk to Cait about her career and all the amazing things you do with that.
Okay. I guess for like people who don't know, social media is pretty much like a really fun but really stressful job. But so what I do is pretty much I actually counted the other day, I have 11 TV shows that are on TV and I run all of their brands. So whatever social media platforms they may have. Some of them have Snapchat still, some of them don't, some of them are on TikTok, some of them aren't, but most of them are on like the main 3, which is like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And I just work in tandem with a bunch of people to try to get people to watch the show, to start new series, to drive new fans into the community. That's like the main thing that I do is like the community aspect of my job. Instead of just like getting people to watch a TV show, I try to like build a fandom of people that can like have a community online, whether that's Twitter, Instagram, and then like they can bond together, because that's like what makes a show good is like the fans and not just like, people watching, especially nowadays with like streaming and stuff. It's like kind of hard to have like a TV show. Like, I don't know, like when we were kids, we all like tuned in to a show at like 8:00 at night and like watched it every week, but now no one really does that.
Right.
So it's like, how do you find people that like watch the same show as you do. So yeah, basically I turned my like little fandom dreams when I was younger. I had like a fan Twitter and a fan Tumblr, and I was really, really good at it, like just like gaining followers and creating content. And so I was like, this is what I want to do when I grow up. I get to do it, which is really cool, especially for some of the shows that I like was a fan of when I was younger. So
yeah, that's so awesome. And how did you get into it? Like, how did you find that amazing job?
So it's kind of weird. Like I went to college for English and journalism. Initially, I wanted to do like online journalism, like Rolling Stone, things like that. But online journalism is a really difficult field to get into. It's kind of like, people say like print is dead, news is dead type of thing. So I ended up getting more into social media and less like actual journalism, and more just like, instead of like news, I'm representing like brands and stuff. Right. And so in college, I had a few different internships, and they slowly went from like, I was doing news to I was tweeting like fun stuff. And like one by one, they kind of got more and more fun and more like in the entertainment industry. And I was like, this is what I like to do. And so when the pandemic happened, I like graduated college, had nothing to do. And I was just applying to like literally every job ever. And I applied to work at MTV, and for 6 years of them literally not even giving me an interview. For some reason they did this time. I don't know, maybe it was my college diploma or something like that. Maybe there was something, I don't know. But I just kind of like got it, which is cool, because I feel like a lot of people, you kind of have to like know somebody to get a job at like a big company. But I just, did my like due diligence, had like a bunch of unpaid internships in college, and like,
You're awesome.
Yeah, did everything I could to get experience, and then just, went for the shop for the stars.
So awesome. You persevered. You submitted that application multiple times.
Submit that application. I wrote so many cover letters.
That's impressive.
Yo, Cait, how many followers would you say you have between all of your platforms?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Oh my God, I don't know. Really don't know. I don't know. I at least like 10 million or something.
Go viral all the time. We follow her handles, obviously, and her posts constantly are going viral. They're so good. Like, she is so modest when she says this. She's really so good. She's so good at everything she does. She's so modest, but she's a badass.
She literally has like 800 million followers.
800 million. Everybody in the
That's
world.
Awesome.
Honestly, they should if they aren't.
Like, okay, if you wanted to just get some message across, I feel like you could literally fundraise like 500 million, like day one.
You have the power.
That makes me feel bad. I feel like now I should be like donating to charities.
But if you did that, you'd get fired.
No,
then you couldn't
you
do it
can't
anymore.
do that though.
Yeah.
I'm saying I was doing it like personal reasons, to be honest. Like, I was never.
For sure.
Like, I could get a bunch of people to follow Julie on Instagram.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And what would you say is like the hardest part of your job?
It's just that like, I feel like this is the same thing that anybody in like a creative field struggles with, which a lot of people wouldn't really assume that social media is like a creative field, but it definitely is in a lot of ways. And sometimes you come up with a concept and you work really hard on it and it doesn't do well. And you're kind of like, oh, like I thought I was good at my job, or like, but you have to remember that like social media is completely fake and that it's just like, there's a lot of things that go into it now, like algorithms and like paid partnerships and like different, permissions and things like that. And so I would say sometimes I get like an idea and I really, really want to do it, and I'll like work on it for like a whole like day and like pass it through people and everything. And then when I finally get to do it, it like, will get not as much, half as much engagement as like something random I did. And I'm like, oh, that kind of sucks. But it's just like all in a day's work, I guess. So
yeah. That's so awesome. What would be one message that you'd tell someone who's trying to get into like social media and all that stuff?
I would say just get as much experience as you can. Like, it doesn't even matter if you're not doing social media for like a big brand, or like even like if it's not verified or anything like that. Like in college, I did social media for the different clubs at my school. Like I would run their Instagrams or go to your local coffee shops and bars and ask if they need social media, because a lot of people don't know how to do it. And if you know how to do it, you can fill somebody's need. And like you can do bands in your town, you could do stores in your town. Like if you're like a local like a thrift store, you can start running their Instagram, things like that. And experience is definitely the most valuable thing in social media. Like you can know a bunch of people, you can know a bunch of things about a brand, but if you don't know how to like do social media actually, like the ins and outs of like posting and stuff, then you're like not going to do well. And that's the only way you can learn, is like getting yourself in there and doing it. So
yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Thanks for asking.
Pretty much the coolest person I've ever met. Besides
Coolest
you
job
two.
on earth. Like, I talk about her job. Anyone, I'm like, I have a really cool friend in New York. She runs every social media page you've ever seen.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
You guys
pretty much.
I brag about you so much, Kate. Like, you're my biggest flex.
Stop. You guys are my biggest fans. I always like see when I post something like 10 minutes, I see that like Colleen or Julia has like liked it from their personal page. And I'm like, that means so much to me. Just like little things like that. So always good friends to support you.
Yes, get good friends. Woo.
Well, get friends are easy to support.
Yeah.
All right. Colleen and Julia, your turn. Who wants to go first? Tell us about your careers and all the things about, you can talk about
mine's short, so I can go first.
You're going to go first?
Yeah, mine's not that long. I've had a very short career.
And it's over now.
Now it's over, yeah. So I grew up sailing pretty much all the time. That's all I did in high school. My friends would get so mad at me because after school, every day and every weekend from 9 to 5, I was busy sailing. It was my passion. It was all I ever did. It was like my favorite thing in the world. And I had this vision that I was going to like grow up and be this professional sailor. I was going to sail all the time. I was going to become a coach, do all that stuff. Like that's why I went to school, was just to basically just like go through the steps. Mm-hmm. But when I was in school, I've had 3 shoulder surgeries. So that plan kind of got thrown off the rails. Mm-hmm. And so I was like obviously pretty upset for a while, thinking that I could never do this thing I wanted to do again. But in the past year, Julia has really helped me see that there's so many different ways I can still do what I love to do. Like she has a 470 in this area, which is a type of which is a type of sailboat. And we go out on all the time. I can still sail. And so that's been really cool. And I coach high schoolers and adults how to sail now. So I still get to do like that. And now I have a day job that just pays the bills.
Yeah. Awesome. What's your day job?
I work at this company and I do a lot of their accounting and making sure everyone is paying the correct amount of price. My job is very easy.
Damn, that kind of sounds important. All right, Julie, your turn.
I work at the same company as Colleen.
And she coaches the same high school team.
And I do coach at the same high school. Our lives are very intertwined as we sit on top of each other right now. I originally went to school day one to study oceanography because I love the ocean and I love being outside, and being at the water is my passion. Yes. And then I got to school and was like, wow, science is really hard. And my one teammate, who actually, like, we don't even really like this guy, but I can always credit to my career because he essentially pointed me to his major, which was maritime supply chain management. And in summary, it's just studying ports and boats and the business behind how boats essentially are part of the economy.
Wow.
And I was like, perfect. I can be by the water. I can study boats. This is great. And so I did that. I really enjoyed my major. I really enjoyed my classes. It was very nice. And I also double majored with international business. And I should say attempted. I attempted to double major with international business and attempted to triple minor with computer science, European history, and environmental issues. And then I just went through a lot where I had
a D1 sport athlete.
Yeah. And then as I was entering my junior year, COVID happened. After that, I was going into my senior and I had to move out of my house that I had been living in. And it was just very chaotic. So I ended up dropping basically everything that I was studying besides my major and my minor. And that kind of reset my vision for my life a little bit. And so from there, I started working at a shipyard, which was awesome. I loved it. It was very girl boss, had my pink hard hat strutting through. If I stayed there, I would have gotten me some pink steel-toed boots. So that was the kind of worker I was. But that was really fun. And I left because I got a really good offer as a data analyst, which kind of filled my computer science itch for me because I totally can't code, but this made me feel like I could a little tiny bit.
Yeah.
So that was great. And I do like my job. I view it as more of an experience that I can have behind me. So then as I go forward and kind of figure out what I really want to do, I have these hard skills. And I really like the company I work for, and everything's all good, but I'm definitely not done on my path.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what are you guys looking forward to in the future then? We'll start with Julia.
More traveling with you.
Traveling with Selina, top of the list. Yeah.
Traveling with
It's on the top of my list.
I can't wait to travel. I can't wait to get more tattoos. I can't wait to do something really epic. I feel like I want to
No, I actually do. I'm laughing at you, but I agree.
Yeah, I want to row across the ocean or sail in a world's competition or sail in another country or sail to Antarctica, or they're all really
car on fire.
Yeah.
But I just want to scream from a mountaintop. That's kind of what I can't wait to do, is have that moment of lying in a big grass field and just being here I am.
And where do you want to travel to? Where's your next destination you want to go?
South America is what the group has voted on, and I can't wait to do that. My lifetime goals of travel boxes are that, Africa,
South Asia,
Galapagos Islands, South Asia, and specifically Antarctica. I really want to go to Antarctica.
Oh, I like it.
That's how I feel you.
That's awesome. Okay, what about you, Colleen? What do you want in the future? What's your plans? What are your dreams?
I don't know. So me and Julia have been talking about this a lot lately, and I don't even see a year in the future. But my new thing I've been really trying to do in the past, I would say 6 to 8 months, has just been chasing happiness. Anytime I'm doing something that makes me happy, I'm going to continue doing it until it stops making me happy. And I feel in the past, I spent so much time being is this making other people around me happy? Am I making everyone proud? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? And that has definitely pushed me down some paths that I wouldn't ever go down again.
Yeah.
And so my new thing is just, if I'm happy, that's great. I'm going to continue that. And if I'm not, then I'm going to keep trying new things. But on a bigger scale, I want to get my captain's license. I want to captain a boat around the world. I want to sail people's boats from one place in Europe to another place in Europe. I definitely don't see myself working a corporate job my whole life. I want to save some money. That's the next level to do, is start saving money. And so after I do that, then I can do my fun things.
Chasing happiness, saving money.
It's so really hard. Unfortunately, they don't go hand in hand. It's impossible to do both.
Why can't happy things be cheaper?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking the other day. I'm I just wish I could just go on a plane and just travel for my whole life. But how are you going to pay for it?
If anyone listening wants 4 sugar babies, we're right here.
I'm available. My boyfriend gets it.
Same. He'd be fine with it. Yeah.
Oh my God. That's too good. Awesome. Well, I think both of you guys are going to do amazing things and will sail around the world. Every time I see a sailboat, I literally take a picture and I'm I should send it to them. But then I'm I don't want to be weird.
That. That makes me so happy. Oh my God, that makes me so happy.
We have a collection of sailboats, and I'm every time I see a sailboat, I think of you two because I just know how much you guys love it. So,
oh my God, it makes me want to cry. That's so sweet. You definitely send that to me. That'll make my day.
I've had that sailboat association with both. It started with Julia, and it's also works with turtles and anchors. You'll see. And then it came with Colleen, and I've had it for I don't even know how long we've been friends, 10, 12 years. It just never goes away. So welcome to the club.
Welcome to the club.
It's really easy. If you ever want to buy them anything, you can just buy them something with that on it. And they're I love it.
They're obsessed.
But also, I like the idea that we are your little sailboat. So every time you see it, you can think that we are there with you because I feel with you.
Exactly. I'm actually on the boat.
You're actually there. Awesome. And what about you, Cait? What do you want for the future? What are some of your dreams?
Well, obviously, I think we met traveling. That's definitely one of our passions together, but I would love to travel with my girls, of course. I now that we've done our big trip together, it's kind of hard to imagine doing a different big trip with not you guys. So I feel that's exciting to just think about. But Actually, I don't know, because I feel like I have had so much going on this year that is now over that I'm like, I don't even know what I'm looking forward to. But that's kind of a good thing. I don't know. It's kind of just like I feel really open to like new experiences. I feel like I'm kind of starting a new chapter. Like I moved into a new apartment, I definitely like am flourishing in my career and things like that. So I'm kind of just excited for the unknown, if that's a really easy answer, but it's so good. I'm like, that's what I'm excited about. Like, if you asked me this like 6 months ago, I would have said like a bazillion things. They already all like happened. And now I'm like, what's going on? I don't know. Woo!
Do you remember we had been talking about this trip and we were like, man, after this is over, we're gonna immediately need to do something because like
we're gonna be so upset and depressed and like here I am.
So I love hearing you say that because like I feel good too, and that's crazy because I thought I'd be sad,
Yeah, that's totally interesting, and I love that you're just excited for the unknown. I'm trying to get there. I'm like, I hate the unknown. I would rather know everything, just plan it out. Have a couple spreadsheets.
What are you looking forward to in the future?
Yeah.
What am I looking forward into the future?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I don't know. I'm just excited for all the good things that could come.
Starting school. Starting school.
Yes, I'm starting school. I'm going back to school, which I'm actually excited for because I'm trying to like reframe it as just like this is another opportunity to like meet new people and learn things that I'm actually interested in. And so I'm pretty excited for that too. But I mean, if we're looking far into the future, again, just more travel. Like I want to just travel. I want to see the whole world. So I'm gonna have to get started at some sooner than later.
Oh yeah. I'm excited to meet you in different places.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I'm really excited to like settle down a little bit more because I've been traveling so much and just like get into a good routine. I'm very excited about it.
There's nothing better than a good routine.
Yeah, it just hits different when you have your life together.
I miss college like for that like routine. It is so much easier to like thrive like the foundation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm just
a
like
high functioning busy person. So I'm excited. All right, well, let's talk about the trip. This is where I'm most excited to talk about. I want to talk about traveling and the trip because this is what brought us together. So the first thing is tell me about how you guys got on the cruise on the trip. I know it was a little bit of you had to wait. You had to wait a couple years. COVID got in the way. So tell us about that.
Well, I planned this trip. Well, Cait and I have always loved Mamma Mia. Like backstory.
That's where it starts.
Yeah, I actually have a tattoo from Mamma Mia. Like we love Mamma Mia. So it's always been like my dream to go to Greece. And my parents actually, my stepmom and my dad went to Greece and Italy on a cruise for their honeymoon. So I totally kind of stole their idea because I was like, that was awesome. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to do it on a honeymoon because like, or anything in general with like a significant other. Because like, first of all, everything's better with my girls. Mm-hmm. And second off, like I want to always have this pure, beautiful memory.
What if you get divorced? And that's going to ruin Greece.
And then on top of it, Cait and I just love Mamma Mia, and Greece is like the epitome of it. So we were like, we want to do this trip. And it was during the pandemic, so cruise prices were pretty low. And I was like, heck it, let's do it. But really the heck it, let's do it was sponsored by the death of my grandma. Love her. Rip. She was an amazing.
I love you, Bob T.
I love you, Bob T.
I love her so much. I think about her every day. I drive her car around. Like she's a very present part of my life. I grew up spending summers with her, and she left me some money when she passed away. And she loved traveling. She was the reason I ever left the country to begin with. She took me on a variety of trips. So I was like, the best way I can honor this amazing woman is to go have a lovely trip with my best friends. So then I planned this trip for Caitlin and Colleen, and they were great. They were like, you do you, Julia, and we will put our card down. Like, let's go.
That's how it happened.
So that is how we ended up at the Newark airport. From there, things got rough. Things got real rough.
Oh my gosh.
Me and Julia actually flew into JFK and took an Uber over to Newark because that was the most logical way for us to do it. But we didn't realize.
In New York terms, that makes no sense. And it is so inconvenient. It's
so stupid.
Literally like an hour drive.
Oh, it was. And it was like a $90 Uber.
Yeah.
So off to a strong
It was like
start.
a flight, basically.
Yeah, we basically took a flight. And so we get to that airport, like 4 or 5 hours early to our flight. We're like, whatever, we'll check in and we're not gonna be stressed. We can go sit at a bar by the gate, have a drink, not be stressed out. We get there, heard that we can't check in until 2 hours before our flight. So we sit for 2 hours in the floor of the airport.
But the bar wasn't even open.
The bar was not open. Let's start the theme of us waiting in airports. We then finally we meet up with our wonderful Cait. She waits a while with us. We then get to first flight's not an issue. We go from New York to Lisbon. That's fine.
Hello, Portugal.
From New York to Lisbon, Julie and Cait get deathly ill.
We were violently ill.
I actually kind of forgot about that. But
No.
yeah, I like threw up multiple times.
They both
like,
did.
It was awful.
It was so weird. We both were separately ill for
Yeah.
seemingly separate reasons.
Yeah.
And we didn't even communicate about it until we were in Portugal.
Yeah.
Like we passed each other on the plane, in the bathrooms. There was nothing of that. There was, how was your flight? It was terrible. I was throwing up. And oh my God, me too.
It's funny because when I got off the plane, I'm like, I had a great flight. I slept, I ate, the food was amazing. How are you guys? They're like, close my bag, I'm running to the bathroom.
And like I like throw up in my hair. Like I was like, I just feel shit.
But so we are fine. Oh, so wait, little context too. We were originally supposed to go Lisbon straight to Rome and have 2 days in Rome and then go down to Greece.
So by the time we got to Portugal, we were like, great. Everything's good. We're here on
We
time.
love you,
Like,
Portugal.
we're just going where we belong. You know?
Our Rome flight gets canceled. We're sent to Munich. And that's when we spend the next 36 hours in Munich.
And
For
to
the
be
worst
fair,
36 hours.
we were such good sports about it in the beginning. We were like, oh, damn, we're going to get to Italy a few hours later. We might miss our dinner
first day,
reservations.
that sucks.
But
Yeah.
we got to Germany and we went straight to the bar. We ate pretzels and drank beer. Colleen got
We drink beer. We drink beer.
Yeah, Cait, we
I was throwing up. There was a beer involved.
Colleen drink beer.
There
I had
wasn't.
beer.
The spirits were high, is what
Yeah,
I was.
I took a nap. Yeah.
You
Yeah,
guys were
and
just
so-
going with the flow.
Yeah, it was all good. And so then we finally get to our gate. We finished our 8-hour layover. We're about to get on the plane. I fall asleep for the first time and only time in Munich for around 45 minutes. And so I'm woken up by Julie and Cait going, our flight's canceled. We have to run.
Yeah. Like I literally woke her up and was like, we're running, right? We're
My
running.
bag's open. I have a book out. I have a charger out. I'm like holding my bag like, and we're running.
Colleen was a great sport about it then too.
We didn't even know where we were going.
So I had no idea what was
We
happening.
didn't know. We were just like, everyone is running in the airport. We've got to run too.
Basically, what had happened is they were like, your flight is canceled. Go to the Lufthansa customer service desk. So I was like, we have to be the first people at that desk. And so that's what I was like, we have to go. We have to
So
run.
then Julia takes off sprinting, gets in line. They tell her to get into the certain line. Great, she's in line. Me and Cait get there because we got our bags. We're lugging everything with us. We get there. They sent Julia to the wrong line. She can't get in.
They literally told me to go to that line. And even someone standing in that line was like a business class line. And so the guy standing there was like, I claim her. Like she's with me.
I get a guest pass. Like she's my guest. Cause like me and Julia were like in tears being like, we waited. Please let us in.
Yeah. And the guy in front of me is literally like, she's my guest. She's with me. And she's like, unless you are yourself a business class member, no guest. And he was like, I literally get a guest. What do you mean? And she was like,
Not
no.
tonight, you don't. Yeah. But so then I go and cut half the line, gets the front of the big line.
Yeah. And there was like hundreds of people in that line.
More
I
than
didn't
that.
even know how
People
she
were
I
crying.
have a weird
There
skill.
was a stretcher.
Yeah. I have a weird skill at just getting through crowds. So I was just chatting my way to the front of the line. Get to the front of the line. The woman I'm chatting with passes out.
Oh my God, it's like this story keeps getting worse and worse and worse.
It honestly still gets worse.
I didn't know it was that bad. I mean, you guys told me
4
about
hours
it.
I stood in that line while Cait guarded our bags. Julia was going back and forth between the two of us. And I'm in the last. Because like a
And it's so
zigzag
hot.
line.
It's so
Oh, it's
hot.
so hot.
It's so like no wonder you
I'm
have to wear a
bad.
mask. And
Yeah.
like it's a big crowd. You're wearing a mask. There's no air conditioning.
How me and Julia, this closest was that with people all around me.
In Germany.
In Germany. For the
And you guys didn't even get to see Germany. You saw the
Oh,
airport.
no. We saw the airport. So
And
then
the train station.
I'm in
Actually,
the
that's
last-
not true.
We're getting there, we're
That's
getting there,
not
we're
true.
getting there, we're getting there.
There's more.
So we're like 5 people back in line. They shut down the help desk.
They literally
It's like
say we're
midnight
closed
at
tonight.
this point too. It's so late.
They say we're closed for the night and there's no more hotels. Also, if you leave, you're gonna have to go through custom again and maybe get a new ticket. So then we make the group decision to go get our bags and then say we're gonna abandon planes and try to take a train down to Germany. We're abandoning
planes
Rome.
just didn't work
At this
for
point,
us.
we're like, we're not going to Rome. We're just gonna try to make the cruise. Rome is out. We've never heard of Rome.
It's so sad. We
that
were
was
like
hard.
taking turns, like silently crying.
We lost like $400.
Yeah, it was like $1,200 just gone, like in
Yeah.
ticket books, Airbnbs,
Also, we have
everything.
never seen a single dollar of that money back.
Not
Let's just
$2. Nope.
That was
Did you
just like
get any of it back?
no,
and
we
we
didn't
like
get
spent
any refunds.
reports, everything.
for you, Lufthansa.
Fuck you, Lufthansa.
Fuck you, Lufthansa. That's true.
So,
I hate
Get down to
Lufthansa.
the baggage claim line. We wait in the baggage claim line to get our bags.
Yeah.
For another hour. Again, we get to the front.
We're all crying. Like we've all taken our turns crying.
I go and call my mom in the corner and sob.
Yeah,
I were probably
also-
looking
There
fresh.
was also a tall, beautiful Italian grown woman who was crying.
Yeah, there
She
was.
was crying too. It wasn't just us. We were
Everyone was crying. Everyone was upset.
It was an emotional day.
Yeah. Then we make the group decision to sleep in the airports.
But mind you, there weren't even any benches available. And we were in baggage claim. So we were just sleeping on the floor of baggage claim, like
In the
next to
corner.
the janitor mopping. I've never been more like, what have I done in my life to end up here?
And so I'm like trying to like figure out where to get on train. But mind you, while this is happening, this is actually what Selina, you got caught up in. There was a train strike going on.
Oh yeah.
So every time we tried to book our train ticket, it would just cancel out on us and say like, you can't book a ticket right now. And we were like, we can't rent a car.
We
can't
tried
book a
that really
ticket.
hard, but we can't
Like,
drive stick.
Yeah, no, but it wasn't even that too. But it was like
Oh, yeah,
none of the car rentals were
available,
available.
yeah.
I called my dad like a bunch during this, and I was like, "What do we do?" And he was like, "Rent a car."
Mhm.
And I was like, "The only person who could rent a car is Cait." Cait
It was
drives
like a
me out.
10-hour drive.
Not
I
a
was like,
driving
we're
ticket.
not gonna make it through the German countryside. Like,
So also so the next day I sleep 0. Julie, how much did you sleep?
Like 2 hours.
Oh, good.
I would say that I slept, but I kept waking up and like getting really scared. I'd be like, "Where am I?"
Yeah,
And then
it
I'd
was
be like,
a
"Oh,
weird
I'm in
feeling.
Germany."
Yeah, I spent my night on my phone getting our train tickets. So when we woke up, we had train tickets.
Yes.
And so then
yeah. Oh my
4
god.
a.m. get in line for the bags. And we asked the guy where our bags were. And Cait, do you want to say what he said?
This was the worst part of this entire German experience.
Everything else was fine until this.
He was so mean. So we're like, "Hello, sir. We have just slept on the floor. We don't even want to get on a fucking plane anymore. We want our bags that you
Our
have back
belongings.
there." Also, for starters, they were saying that they had our bags the whole time. They just didn't have the manpower to get them out. I was like, "Let me back there. Let me back there. I'll get it."
Okay, everyone
We were like, "Kind sir, please, can we have our bags? We have a train to catch now. We're trying to get out of here. We never want to see you again." He was like, "Well, I don't know where your bags are. You can pray and maybe that'll help." And we were like,
We literally said, "What can we do to get our bags?" And he said, "You can pray. That's all you've got."
The one option.
we were like,
I saw red.
did we like start praying? You know? Like,
Oh, see, I didn't think about praying. I thought about murdering.
I
so.
think I maybe summoned a demon at that point. Like,
But then
You guys are all exhausted emotionally, physically. You've been in an airport for way too long. And then he says, "Pray to you guys." That's the tipping point.
it's so condescending.
It was
like,
so
that's really what it was.
condescending.
Like he could have. I honestly would have rather
He's so
have him sit in
mean.
our face and be like, "You think you deserve a bag? Psych!" Like that would have been better than him being like, "Little girls, maybe if you go to church
Yeah.
more." Like, dude,
But then luckily, 2 hours later, an angel appeared.
no, not even. It was like an hour later.
Okay,
It
fine.
was-
An
it was
hour
pretty
later,
close.
an angel appeared. She was sent from our prayers.
Also,
I must have been. I must have been prayer.
We get our bags, we get in the Uber. We get into a taxi. The taxi ride really confirmed to me that we couldn't have driven to Germany and we would have died. We were going like
it was like 120. Like,
120
it wasn't even
miles per
90.
hour.
It was
That's
like
when we
upper
found
100.
out that there's no speed limits on German highways. Did you know that?
I
There's
didn't
literally
know
no
that.
speed limit. You can just go.
you just go
You
until
go
you
as
feel
hard
like you're
as
gonna
you
die.
Just drive.
It was
So,
like genuinely
like,
the fastest.
we
I think
would have
I've ever
died if
been
we
in a
rented a
car.
car.
Speeding down this German highway at like 6 in the morning because the desk opened at 5. So we got our bags at like 6:30. This guy's like blasting like German techno. It's like, and we're in the car like,
talking to me, just to me in full German.
Yeah, he's talking to Colleen. Being like, yeah, yes.
I was having a conversation with him.
And like Kate and I are like, do you know what he's saying? And she's like, no idea. No.
And like 10 minutes before we get to the train station, he starts like warming up to us, I guess, and starts giving us like a tour of Munich. A drive-by tour, like on the way. He's like, and this is this building, and this is this building, and like even like pulled into like a weird canal so we could
see people
like
on the canal.
Say he gave us safely to the train station where we trained all the way.
Where we then waited for 3 hours.
Oh, that was funny.
And then you got on the train though.
We did.
And then it was great after that. I had no issues. There was wonderful. And then
remember there were 3 separate trains though. We like ran in between each one of them.
Yeah. You take 3 trains to get to Ravenna, Italy. From
and if we missed one of them, we were like gonna be screwed because there was like the train strike happening and we had to make it on the boat. We were like we had.
Oh yeah! Shout out to Cait for the last train. We would not have made the last train without Cait because she was like, "No, guys, it's this way." And we're like, "I don't know." And Cait said, "Trust me, it's this way." And we all grabbed our bags, we followed Cait, and it was right where she said it was.
And literally, it was so funny because we were like, we had like a few minutes in between each train, so we were like, look around and be like, "Wow, this is so beautiful Italian city. Wish I could stay." And then would like get on a train.
Gorgeous, great time. We all slept. We all ate. One thing though, Selina. You're the one who actually taught us the difference later on in life. But in the moment, all we wanted was water. All the group wanted was just a sip of just some water. And we kept buying sparkling water.
We bought like 4 different water bottles.
At one point, I was like annoyed with Julia and Cait. I'm like, they keep buying sparkling water. I'm going to go buy myself. I'm going to get some still water. Come back up. I'm like, here you go, guys. I got everyone some still water. It was sparkling.
Like, look, it says natural or something. That means
it's natural.
I literally was so thirsty when I was in Copenhagen, and all I wanted was just some normal water. I hate bubbles, and I had to learn it the hard way. But I mean, you guys,
you didn't learn it. We were all so sleep exhausted at this point that we just kept buying the same bottle of water, thinking it was still. At one point, I was in the Starbucks.
We were praying it would be still this time.
Oh my gosh. And here I am thinking I have to zip around in a cab in Italy.
No, that was like a fucking $400 cab ride.
Yeah. No. It was $700.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
ouch.
Selina, you win that one.
Yeah, that's worse.
No,
that's
honestly,
worse.
I would argue that you guys win that one.
The
honestly,
emotional price that we paid.
I think that's actually true. I would have paid $700 to not.
Would have.
Honestly.
Would have. And I'm just sitting nice in the air-conditioned cab, like freaking out. But like, still, I would.
How many people missed? What did they say? How many people missed the cruise?
20% of the cruise missed it. 20%.
What?
Yeah, they said something like that.
The Skydeck bartender was like, 20% of the cruise is empty.
Which was actually really nice because it was very spacious on the cruise.
Yeah.
I will say.
And I imagine what if those rest of the people were like annoying or something?
Exactly. Imagine. And like seriously, everyone I talked to had an issue with getting to that port. Like
it was like misery and
effort.
It was like a sign that we were all supposed to be there, like to struggle, and so that we could all cruise together.
And meet
And it was so nice the first excursion we did, which was where we met you, and how everyone on that boat was basically just like bonding over our horrible travel experience. And had we not had that, who knows, maybe we wouldn't have been in such an open mood for the goodness to come.
Exactly. You guys were like, this is too much harsh, bad. We're just gonna enjoy every minute of it now.
Aww.
Well, I first saw you guys. This is my part of the story where I first saw you guys. So you guys get on the same little boat because we have to take little boats into the actual city. And the universe put us on the same boat. So thanks, universe, for that one. And you guys come on, and I'm like, these girls are having so much fun. I'm like, I'm at the end of my trip. I'm actually, I'm very exhausted. I'm I'm going to keep trucking along because I've always wanted to go to Greece as well. I'm also a Mamma Mia fan. I love it to death. So I was like, I want to go to Greece, and then this is happening. But I saw you guys come on the boat and I was like, oh my gosh, these girls are so cool. Like they just look like they have so much energy. And then you guys were talking about mermaids, full on talking about being mermaid. And I was like, are these my people? Like
My merfolk.
The merfolk. Yeah.
My merfolk.
I was seriously like, oh my gosh. And so then what happened? They were like, you guys can go up onto the top. And I was like, I'm gonna sit on the dock. Yeah, that's where we like first met. And then I offered to take a photo of you guys.
Yeah,
And
that's how we met. I remember that. That was how we
that's
met.
how we met.
The three of us. When I was like, that's so sweet.
Yeah, and then you guys are like, do you want a picture? I'm like, sure, why not? And then that was like the first ever thing that brought us together.
It was the spark.
Yes.
Which is funny because think of all the pictures we were then.
That's what I was about to say. And then how many pictures did we take on that trip of each other? So many.
Thousands.
Literally thousands.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's their story on how they got to the cruise. Very exciting. Was this your guys' first time to Europe?
Mm-hmm. Oh no. I don't know why I just
No,
said
not mine.
You guys have all been to Europe before this.
mm-hmm.
Where'd you guys go first? When and where? How old were you? Where did you go?
I went when I graduated high school. My stepdad took me, and so we went to London where my best friend lived, and we stayed with her. And then we went to Paris and stayed in like the smallest I think hotel room I've ever seen in my life. It was smaller than our dining room, which is right there.
Yeah.
And Dave, my stepdad, I'm tall, I'm 5'10". He's like 6'5", 250, big dude. He was on the smallest twin size bed I've ever seen. It was the funniest thing watching him sleep in that bed. And then we went to Amsterdam, and that was both of our favorite spots. And then we went with them.
Okay. Nice. And what about you, Cait? Where were you before that?
So I my first time I ever went to Europe was I went to Italy in high school, like as part of a school trip, which is so funny now to look back at it because like that's very quintessential like high school. But I went to Rome, Florence, and Venice when I was 16 with like all of my little high school friends. It was so fun. But since then I went back to Italy in 2019 to visit my friends who were studying abroad. So I went back to Rome. Cool. And then I also visited my friends who were studying abroad in London. So I've only ever been, besides this time, to London and Italy. So this is my first time in Greece, my first time in Amsterdam, obviously my first time in Montenegro, because I didn't even know that was a country until we went. Right? Like, okay, I knew like, it was a place. I have heard of it, but I didn't know it was its own country. I thought it was a city.
Yeah.
But
on the American school
system.
Literally.
Awesome. That's so cool. I wish I got the opportunity to travel with my high school. That's so cool. What about you, Julia?
I shout out to my grandma, as per mentioned. I went to Catholic school for like 12 years, similar to Cait, and I went on a pilgrimage when I was like 10, 11, and I went to France, Portugal, and Spain, and we like prayed and went to a bunch of churches together. Very thrilling.
Which is so funny knowing you.
Yeah, it's actually really funny when you know me as a person to think that I went on like church camps throughout Europe. And after that, I went to Europe again with my dad and my stepmom, the travelers who I stole the cruise idea from. And we actually went on a month-long cruise through Norway, Iceland, the Faroe Islands, and basically just like a bunch of those Arctic island kind of places, Denmark, that stuff. And then we actually also went to London and Germany. And I actually didn't like Germany when I went with them. So it was really funny to go again and be like, I knew I didn't like this country.
No offense to the Germans watching this.
No, I'm sure you guys are great. I just have had a bad experience every time.
When we got home, Julia's boyfriend picked us up from the airport and bought me a t-shirt that says I Heart Germany.
Yeah. Not me, I knew it would hit too hard.
It wouldn't have been good.
I'd have hit him too hard. Yeah.
Okay, so this was not your first time going to Europe. Okay, so this was like your second or third, depending on who it is, time going to Europe. Okay, good for me to know. So what have you guys learned from all of your travels? Like, was there certain aha moments or things that you really discovered about yourself or learned along the way while you were traveling? It doesn't have to be this specific trip or your other Europe trips as well. Anybody can go.
Well, besides the classic versus natural water, I think that was my personal biggest learn. No, but just
there are hot men everywhere.
there are hot men everywhere. That is my lesson.
There's no lack. Yeah.
And also just like kindness is such a universal language. If you come up to someone with just a good energy and a good attitude, they 90% of the time give that back to you, which is really cool to see that that's everywhere. If you walk to someone with a smile, they're probably gonna return that smile back to you, which was like cool to see. That's universal.
Even New York.
Even New York. Yeah.
Yeah. I was about to say, every time I go on a trip, I always am surprised by how capable I am of like doing things. Like I went to and lived in Australia when I was like 20, and I was so scared because I was like, I've never been this far from home before. And like, you always surprise yourself with like how capable you are. Like we definitely surprised ourselves with like how we handled, you know, our situation. Were we calling for help and doing everything we could? Yes. But like at the end of the day, we got through it like on our own accord and like our own street smarts and stuff. And I feel like that's stuff you literally only learn when you like put yourself out there in those situations. You're like, I have to figure out how to get to Italy, or this is do or die. Like
I'm throwing away all of my money.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I really love that you were like, you're reinsuring that like, wow, I have all these skills I didn't know that I had. I definitely felt that when I was traveling. I'm like, whoa, I am capable of a lot more than I thought. I was like,
you're like the coolest badass.
You did that by yourself. Like we did that,
right?
The three of us.
When you went skydiving, dude, like
by
yourself.
Like the coast of Holland, right?
Yes.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
So cool.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I do have to agree with you.
You're like, I can't lie.
Cool.
Yeah. And like what we were talking about earlier, like who had the worst travel experience, we had each other. You had to go through that stress alone. Yeah. I can't imagine going through what we went through without you guys as like my sounding board.
Right. Yeah.
It really says to you as a person, your capabilities, that you could handle that by yourself.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, guys. You're the best. All right. What about you, Julia? What lessons have you learned?
I love traveling for the fact that I set out with a purpose where I'm like, I'm going to learn something about myself when I go and do this, because I am just up my own ass, and everywhere I go, I think about myself and how I am.
Me too. I mean, I'm always like, what can I learn here? It's not a bad thing.
How can I make this about me?
Yeah. How can this get back to Julia?
This is Julia's show, you know?
You are the main character.
I was about to say, what else is traveling if not to go like eat, pray, love, and like figure it all out?
Pray, literally. Yeah. But yeah, so like, and I feel like half the stuff is normally what I learned from a trip is like, there's things out there I just could never have imagined. And it's a cool way to think that there's just constantly things out there in the world that you can't even think of that exists. Like, and for an example, like I try really hard to avoid Googling pictures or being around pictures of the Grand Canyon, because I really want to go and just experience that shock. No, I've never been to the Grand Canyon.
I've never been either.
Oh my God, we should all plan a trip. I used to live
Selina, have you been to the Grand Canyon?
No.
Like, don't Google any pictures.
Everybody close your eyes.
Don't look.
It's not real. Oh, I'd love to take you guys. I lived like an hour from it for 2 years.
Yeah. And I love surprises and I love that kind of stuff. So I always try to like set myself up well for traveling and for those experiences by not giving myself any sort of glimpse of it and then letting the shock of it fill me with whatever idea. And that's normally gone really well because, as I said, I do love surprises. But something I kind of realized on my Greece trip was like, my love of surprises did not mean that I was fearless. And I still had a lot of this fear that had been guiding me and kind of been ruling the way I lived my life. Even when I felt like I was taking risks, it was still very calculated, which is what everyone tells you to do. But then when you're actually living your life, you're like, sometimes you just need to like be really afraid and like really step out there and put yourself. And a really small example is when we were actually in Montenegro, when we all met, I just like swam across the little river. It's not even a river. It was like a little bay kind of thing. And I'm
like a lagoon.
Yeah, it's like a lagoon. I'm a good swimmer. It was like a 2.5 mile, 0.25 mile, like super short, 10-minute swim at the most, you know. And there was like rocks underneath me, and I obviously didn't have goggles because I was in a cute little bikini. And so, you know, I'm swimming and I'm kind of like, oh my God, there's fish. And I'm scared of fish too. So for me, that's like, oh my God, everything's around me. And I'm kind of like working myself into this panic attack as Colleen and Caitlin are like taking selfies and enjoying their vacation like normal people.
Yeah, we were drinking wine on the beach, laying there. Yeah.
Like doing their Greece trip right. And I'm like sending myself into a panic attack over some fish. So it was good. But I get to the end and I was like, wow, okay, I was really scared and I pushed myself through this. And I don't even really know why I was scared. I don't even know, because nothing happened. And like, obviously nothing was going to happen. And even if something happened, I have all these people around me. And like, where is this coming from? And for me, that was a really good thing that I could put towards my actual life that I was living outside of just this little trip, because at the time I had been talking to this guy for a really long time and he wanted to move to a city that I didn't want to move to and had this whole plan in life. And I was like, I just don't know. Like, I don't want to be serious with someone that I don't see a future with. And I don't know what's yet to come and I can't plan this out and I can't write this down. And this is something that I'm scared of. And having that fear over something so small and insignificant as swimming across a river helped me equate in my mind that experience of being afraid of dating someone when our lives looked very different. And it was kind of that moment where I was like, I just have to jump in. Like, I know I like this guy. I just have to date him. And if there's fish in the water that are going to bite me, if there's rocks that are going to scratch me, like, it's worth it because I have this awesome experience that I can at least, even if it doesn't work out, take from it. So that was a big thing that I took from this Greece trip. And we are now dating and he's leaving this Sunday. And I feel pretty comfortable with it. So I would say it's a win all in all. But this also is especially significant to me. Sorry to rant, but just because I hate long distance and I hate serious relationships. So have those two things feel really comfortable with me is like a pretty big step in my emotional life.
Yes. Yeah. I remember you telling me this story. I forget when, but you were telling it to me and I was like, oh, that's such a beautiful story and such a beautiful lesson that you pulled from one of your experiences while you were in Greece. And I'm so proud of you because it is a big deal that you're pushing yourself outside your comfort zone and being like, why is this so scary to me? And you're kind of like questioning. So I love it. I love it so much.
Thanks for being there.
Oh, no, thank you guys. One of the best thing about having you guys was like, I just never had like girlfriends like you guys. And I was telling you guys about this. They were always like, we're girls. And I just love that so much because they truly are. Like, they are the number one cheerleader. They will hype you up. They don't have anything bad to say. Like, they're just so genuinely loving and kind soul people. I love you guys.
After we kidnapped her.
Yeah.
For sure. After we forced her to hang out with us.
But we go up to the waitstaff and we're like, she's actually going to eat with us every night, so you don't have to worry about her on the reservation.
Every night. We
cancel that.
Just put my room down.
But to be honest, those dinners that we had every night on the cruise, they were like literally one of my favorite parts of it, because even if we didn't see each other that day, or we would go over what we did, like what we're doing tomorrow. We would prep for the evening.
And like got the excursion.
Yeah. And that is like, for me, that's like the epitome of like a girl's girl too, is that like just getting together and having like just pure like feminine energy around you, where you just like talk about anything and everything. And you're like, there's no room for negativity here. So it's like, just like little things like that, like our little dinners, I'll like literally always remember them. They were so much fun.
Yeah,
and delicious.
They really were. They were like such a wonderful debrief and like just session of what we wanted to talk about. You're totally right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I love those dinners. They're so fantastic because we really got to connect on like a deeper level too.
We really did.
Where we could just talk about whatever the heck we wanted to. So my next question for you guys is, how did you guys become the girls? Like, was there girls in your life who treated you certain ways and you were like, I never want to treat anyone like that? Like, how did you guys become this way? It's kind of a like loaded question, but like kind of curious.
I've never been asked that before. That's a good one.
Like, why are you guys not evil?
Why are you guys so perfect? Tell me.
Oh God, yeah, you go for yours.
Yeah. So I love my sister, but sometimes growing up, she has an attitude. She's not the nicest of people. Sometimes she doesn't treat people the nicest. And so I always felt myself being like the polar opposite of her. Anytime like she was like mean to someone, or especially like my mom, like anytime like her and my mom would get into fights or she says something mean to my mom, I'd always like find myself in a position where I would be like, with my mom being like, ignore the negativity. You're wonderful and perfect. Ignore that. And like, my sister was just older than me and going through her teenage angst phase. But I think that's where like, I was just like, I don't understand. Like, as your sign says, good vibes only. There's no point of having like any negative energy around you. Like, it doesn't do anything. And I still like struggle with that to this day, where I'm like getting pissed off or something that doesn't matter. And I like get myself all worked up in a tizzy about it. And then realize like an hour later that I am the problem. So like, I would say it's a growing process.
Yes, absolutely. I like that answer a lot. That was great. I think like one thing that you said that really stuck out to me is that you were like, there's just no room for it. And I think a lot of times we like put ourselves in these positions where it's like, why did I just do that? Why? There was no reason, there was no point in that, and kind of like start thinking that way. But I really, really like love that you opened up a little bit about that, and just talked a little bit about your family as well in there. But I love your energy specifically. Like you were just always like first one to compliment me on my outfit. And I was like, thank you. Like, you don't know how much that meant to me.
Gorgeous, 10 out of 10 every night, like no notes.
No notes.
That's why we were late to dinner, is because Colleen wouldn't let us leave our room without her complimenting every single aspect of our outfits. So
we had
that's
to spin the inspection. Yeah.
I mean, you girls also looked fantastic. Like, damn.
It was like paychecks going through those outfits.
Oh, paychecks.
some of them didn't even make it home. Like we
we
left
stuff
there.
And some of them got destroyed. And like that's just part of it.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the part of us just always having the most fun possible. Like if your dress doesn't make it out of the country back to home, it's fine. You had a connect. We took the pictures. It's all fine.
Exactly. All right. Cait, how would you answer that question?
Okay. Well, I feel like Colleen touched on this, and I definitely think that this is what like my main point would be, is that it's definitely like an inner journey too, because I feel like we've all had experiences with mean girls in situations, like whether it was like in school or like or whatever. And when you look back at it, you always realize there was never anything wrong with you. It was like them projecting something onto you, or they had a problem with how you were expressing yourself, like things like that. And once you get over that like aspect of like everybody like is on their own journey and like, I'm going to do me and I'm going to respect everybody for doing them, then you kind of like realize that you're like, whoa, everybody doing them is so cool. And you can like see people and be like, whoa, like I would never fucking wear that, but she looks so good in it. And like, it's definitely like, she's like, you can tell she's the most comfortable in it. And it's like, I feel like that's kind of part of being a girl's girl too. It's just like always, it's not just like blind support, but it's like recognizing like that, like we said, there's literally no room for negativity when you are just like, and when you make room for like, you kick out that negativity and you make room for positivity, you like are like changing your whole like worldview. Like you end up with cool friends like from your trip, and you end up like with things like that. And if you were like closed off before, you would have like never gotten those opportunities, I guess.
Exactly.
That's my little rant.
That was awesome. I love that. All right, what about you, Julia?
To be honest, I've never considered myself a girl's girl, but not in the way where I'm the opposite. It's just something I'd never really thought of, you know what I mean? Like as a thing. My family was really blunt, and I'm one of 5. So I was just always kind of used to like, you have a feeling, you say it how it is, but my family is really like, the family I lived with, which was my mom, was very laid back. So nothing was a big deal. Nothing was the end of the world. Break a stained glass window from 100 years ago. Shout out my brother. It's all good. Everything's fine. So there was really never any like intensity. And I kind of took that from my dad, who was a bit more like, get straight A's, do stuff. So in my head, there was never any room, as Colleen said, for anything else. But it wasn't really positivity either. It was just, there's never any room for anything besides chasing what I want. And like, in that way, bringing it back to Julia's world, what I want is to live in a happy world with lots of people who I love and love me. So why would I do anything else besides live that way and have my actions reflect that as well? And I also was kind of a shy kid, and didn't really have a lot of friends, period. Not that I was like alone, but I just was to myself doing my own thing. And it was actually, I would say, when I met Cait and kind of started going to Kenney Catholic and doing that, when I was like, wow, this is amazing. I want to be around people like this. I want to hang out with her. I want to do this stuff. And going on that and kind of with the idea of where I'm going to do my own thing completely, but I want to support people who also want to do their own thing and who support me doing mine. And so I've always just kind of lived like, what do I want to get done? Let's get it done and let's be happy along the way, because why would I ever do anything else? So that's not a great answer. And at the end of the day, I'm just living to chase my goals. But at the same time, I could never be there without the people around me. And I would never want to be there without the people I love around me.
Yeah. And like what I hear both you guys saying is like that you're not judging anyone. You're just like, you're accepting who they are and what they want to do and just letting them live your life as you live yours as well, which I just think is like what the whole world needs to do more of, like less judging and just more love and kindness, which you guys radiate everywhere. Just so you know.
Says you.
Yeah, says you, first of all. You're the sweetest person I've ever met. But Cait, actually, I visited her when she was studying abroad in Australia. And she said something really cool to me there that I still think about, is how in Australia, when you're meeting someone like at a party or out at a bar, it never really comes up about what do you do? Like that's never really a first question. It's not like, oh, what's your job? Oh, you know, clearly you must be this kind of person since you do this kind of job. It was just like, oh, tell me about yourself. Like, what do you enjoy about life? What time of day do you like? You know what I mean? Like very just questions about
you take your eggs in the morning.
yeah, exactly. And that was always, that's something where when I went on dates in the future on a very like minute thing, I thought about that because I was like, wow, like, I mean, obviously it matters what you do to a certain extent. Cause like, you know, if you're a I guess a tax collector isn't bad either.
We have a best friend.
If you're an assassin, maybe that's fun stories, but I don't know if our morals align. You know?
I don't know if we have a lot in common.
So morals doesn't really matter, but it can affect your life a little bit. And it was a cool way to think about it because I was always so career focused. Like I wanted to make a lot of money. I wanted to like go and, you know, run a business kind of thing. Not even to say that's true, but I just had a different perspective about it. And Cait pointing that out in Australia a few years ago is kind of what we're talking about, where it's like people are so much more than just one part of them, and why judge them?
Yeah, totally. That's genius. I actually saw a video too that it's like instead of just going up to someone and be like, hey, what do you do for a living at like a party? You actually ask them like, what would you do in your spare time? Like a free day. If you had a free day, what would you do? And you'll find out way more about the person than if you just ask them what they do as a job, which I just think is so cool. And I was like, that's a great way of thinking about it. It's like, I'm going to start doing that because it's just different, but learning about people and not putting labels on them because of the work that they do.
And also the thing is, the work that we do is such a small part of who we actually are. Even if your job is like your life, like, you know what I mean? Like you love your job, it's amazing, you're passionate. Yeah, but let's even say you're like a social worker, you know what I mean? And like you are helping people and you are grinding and like a beautiful job. You still are a person outside of that. Like you're a person outside of being a sister. You're a person outside of being a daughter. You're like, obviously all those things are a part of you, but you yourself are just so much more than that.
You're your own entity, and that's what's most important.
You guys, this is beautiful stuff.
Yeah, you make me cry. It's so beautiful. This is really good, actually. Like, if I was listening to this podcast, I'd be like writing a million notes down. This is gold. I'm like, what other life lessons do you guys want to teach us today? Like, seriously.
I would like to learn one or two.
Okay, if we're just allowed to talk, then I can talk.
Okay, well, let's go.
We should all ask each other like one question or something.
Yeah, I love that.
I love that too.
Julie's like, what I have things to say.
Julie's like, well, ask me this.
Yeah, well,
Julie's like, hold on, give me 30 minutes and I'm just gonna talk.
Give me the mic and then
I have a TED Talk written out. Yeah.
No shame, I love it.
Cait, if you could tell yourself, or if yourself 20 years from now could tell you something, what would you want your future self to tell you?
I'm rich.
That's so weird. That's like the opposite of what people usually say. They're like, if you could go back, what would you want to say? But what would I want to hear from like hot 40-year-old MILF me?
Yeah. What do you want her to tell you?
Oh, I don't.
How many sugar babies you have?
How many zeros I have in my bank account?
And tell me where your beach house is, right?
So literally, I'm gonna be like, show me the dog, show me the cats, like show me it all. Like, I don't know. I guess like seriously speaking, I would like it would be cool to be like, oh, like I traveled a bunch, like I did good things at my job. Like this is so like cliche, but like but there's things that to me like don't matter. Like I don't really care about like owning a home, like things like that. Like I could have kids, like I could get married, like things like that, but I would love to be like completely like self-sufficient and stuff like that. Like have like a boss ass job, have had traveled, like have my own cats, my own dogs. Like I can have a cool house, like I live somewhere cool, but like
Casper has his own room.
Casper has his own
yeah,
house.
Casper has his own room. Oh, I thought he was here. He's not here. He's in his room. But okay, wait. I want to know to Julia, because Julia's been a lot of interesting places. Where is the coolest place that you've been to visit that's not in Europe?
Oh, that's not in Europe.
Yes, because we've been talking a lot about our European travels, but I forget that, we've been a lot of places, North America, other continents.
I know. Of course, the first thing that pops up to me to say is Bondi Beach, because Caitlin, when I visited her, we went there and I literally cried because it was so beautiful. Like I was
like, I was like, Julia, are you all right? And she was just like,
I've never had that experience of just sheer like tears in my eyes and out of my face, like crying. But I'd actually say probably the most like memorable experience, like the one that I'll like I could be 100 years old and senile and having dementia and I'd probably still remember this, was when I was 10. I went to El Salvador with my grandmother on a mission trip. And part of it was we were going up this mountain, and my grandmother, she was a grandma at this time, like she was 68,
not her prime,
70, like she was like an old but anyway, I went with my old lady grandma on this church trip, and I'm not religious, to speak that out too, but I am spiritual. And anyway, so we got in the back of this pickup truck and they were like, okay, just get in. And we were like, okay, like, where are the seats? Like, what do we do? And mind you, this was me very like sheltered, grew up in my suburban neighborhood, like lived my same life for my entire 10 years of existence. And they were like, no, you just get in and you just stand. And I was like, okay. So it's me and my old lady grandma with a bunch of other older women. Like that's it, just packed into this pickup truck where you stand in it and there's like a fence around it. And we're trucking up this hill and there's like bumps. It's not a paved road. Like there's potholes. There's like goats coming down the road and everything. And I was like, where am I? Like, what is this world? And I remember just riding in the car and being like, oh my God, like this exists. Like I had no idea that there was anyone out there living this type of lifestyle. And this is so normal to everyone here. And this would just never, ever, ever in a million years, I wouldn't even think to go here and do this. But here I am with my grandmother of all people. And we got to the top of the mountain and it was just so beautiful, like looking down at all this lush greenery that I'd never seen anything like. And I'm not an outdoorsy person either. So it was very like overwhelming and feeling very much like a forest bath. And nothing really happened, honestly, but I just took a lot out of that moment, being like, the world is so big and I can't believe I'm so small, but I feel so good being so small in this big world.
That's kind of how I felt when we all got to the top of Corfu. When Selina and I took the four-wheeling adventure up in the back of the most amazing Irish couple's car. They were fantastic. They were so fun. She still comments on all my Instagram posts. Samantha. Yeah, it's just so cute. And so,
what if we put your couple and our couple in a ring? Who would win?
Kenney and Robin.
Our Irish couple would kick your butt. Just saying.
Honestly,
we would like bake you guys cornbread. We call it
probably completely. You guys, they would get their asses whooped. Like
that's one of my favorite memories of our whole trip, Selina, is me and you in that car together. That was just like such pure joy.
Yeah, it was a crazy surreal moment.
I thought we were gonna die when he was trying to put the radio on.
If you were out coaching sailing and you come back and you tie the boat up and the kids leave, and as you're walking away, you notice something floating up to you in the water.
Is it a dead body?
And you're like, oh man, like I don't know what this is, but like I'm kind of curious.
Is it a dead body?
Over and you're able to pick it up. So you just grab
a dead body.
Not a dead body.
And you grab this glass bottle and it has a message inside. what would you want that message to say?
Oh.
I would be around
I've
this
traveled
big.
the world, Colleen, and you're
We
after the
found
fattest I've ever
a lot
seen.
of zeros in the spot next to it.
With a signature
And
on
a
the back.
signature on the bottom. No, but so if it wasn't a check, okay, let me think. I would want a story. I would want to hear someone's cool story and like their lessons that they learned. Like the same way that like Selena asked us earlier about like our biggest lessons, like when we were talking about this whole time. It would be cool to get someone like outside of my initial groups, like lessons. I'm sure it's different than ours. Was that a good answer?
I mean, there was no.
I would want it to be like a mission. Like they're like, I'm about to die, and this is my life.
It's way better. I
Like
want
a
to
treasure
treasure map. Everything I want
Go
treasure
to the
map.
top of Mount Fiji and take 2 steps to the left. Like,
Where'd you go?
oh, if you stumble upon a message in a bottle, you are destined to whatever that.
I'm gonna
message
start writing like
I'm gonna start writing messages in bottles and throwing them out.
is. I'm gonna start throwing them.
Got my dry cleaning. Yeah.
yeah, it's like a map to buy me Chipotle.
Just says, Colleen, you have the fattest ass in the whole world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a map to compliment me.
Crazy. That would be if you just pictured Colleen fattest ass.
That is what I want. I want like a picture of me being like, you're stunning. I'm like, this is creepy,
You're
but
like, where did
okay.
this come from? It's in my apartment,
Yeah.
but okay.
How did you get here?
Oh my goodness, I love that. I actually have a question on like everything happens for a reason. Do you guys believe that?
Yes.
Everything happens for a reason?
Who doesn't?
I don't
know.
actually.
Oh, tell us. Why not?
Still.
Can I
working
say why you don't?
Sure. You
And
can
I think
say why
I
don't.
think I have a good grasp of why you don't. Because me and Julia, I think what this also comes to, because I believe that in order to feel happiness, you need to feel utter sadness. That without sadness, and they can't feel happy because you don't know what the difference is. But Julia actually had some good points when I said that once, which I didn't mean to sound so shocked. She has good points all the time. But in this moment, it was no, but she was like, I don't like that idea because that's just justifying sadness. It basically you're justifying not feeling happy and being like, oh, the reason why I'm not happy is because so I can be happy. And the way she described it was just you don't want to be punched in the face so you can feel like what it feels like not to be punched in the face. Like you just don't want to get punched in the face. Like you don't need to be punched in the face to know that feels badly. And it's the same idea. And so I think it's the same idea for her. Everything happens for a reason. And the way she's described it to me is just like some things just suck and there's no reason for it. There's just bad things that happen and it brings you no joy and nothing happens out of it. And the only thing that good can come from it is what you make.
Yeah, I think I do believe in like an afterlife, and I do believe that like there are forces in the universe working in their wills. But I don't think it's as easy as being like everything has a plan and there are good things and they're all coming our way. I think if you're a good person and you live your life with a perspective of being like, I'm going to set out to do good every day, then you're going to basically like essentially manifest good and kind of bring it to you. But I think that just because I do that doesn't mean that I deserve it even, or that it'll naturally come to me. It's just, that's my mindset. That's how I'm going to live my life. But bad things are going to happen to me just as much as they could happen to the next person. And it doesn't have to do with kind of my fate along the way.
Right. Okay. And what do you think, Cait? What's your input on that?
Well, I don't know if I necessarily agree with like everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
But I feel like we definitely end up where we're supposed to type of thing. Like, oh, did I like skip?
No.
Okay, you guys skipped. Okay. But I think as humans, we definitely like cling to things. Like we cling to answers for why things are happening. And so everything happens for a reason. It's such like an umbrella band-aid to put over like things and to be like, oh, well, everything happens for a reason. Like, you know, I'm sure it'll be okay. But like kind of what Julia was saying, if you have a mindset of like, this is where I'm going, good things are coming, then like that's definitely like a better way to go about it. I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say that I believe that everything happens for a reason, because bad things do happen, like terrible things happen. And what are you going to say? Like that happened for a reason? Like there's tons of things I can name off the top of my head that should have never happened. Like, I don't know the reasons for them, but it's like, now we end up here and it's like, okay, maybe this is all like part of like a bigger plan type of thing. I don't know. Not Jesus oriented, universe
orientated.
Yes.
I like that.
I really do believe, like, and I would argue Julia's point, but I believe that everything does happen for a reason. I look back in my life and terrible things that have happened to me that I wish like never would have happened, I don't see myself being who I am today without them. And I really like who I am today. And I really like the grown up I've become. I really like what I have done with my childhood and made it to today. And so I believe that everything that happened was for a reason to get me to here today. And I'm going to keep that mindset because it makes me feel good. But also, if it doesn't make you feel good, don't keep it.
Yeah. I think it's a mindset more than it is like a hard yes or no. And I think that's where people get really caught up is they want one universal answer. But what my answer does not have to be, will not be, and probably isn't your answer.
It shouldn't be your answer.
Yeah. Like, we should have our different perspective. And that's kind of where, like, if people just understood that we all had different perspectives and that was all good, life would be kumbaya.
Like, I'm not arguing. I'm just saying what I think. Like, and we can think of it.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm going to tell you my opinion right now, but, you know, we're still friends, we're still good, and we can respect each other for having a different opinion, which is one thing I really love about you guys, too.
Different opinion to an extent.
We have to, because if we actually thought about our opinions, then it would be bad.
Dive into the nitty gritty.
If we really got into it. Well, we're not going to get into it, but
Fight Club.
Rule number 1 about Fight Club: we don't tell anybody about Fight Club.
Stop recording.
But I think that like everything happens at a right time in like some aspects. Like I feel like, does everything happen for a reason? To an extent, yes, in my opinion, because I'm like, how did I meet you guys? Like, I'm like, that happened for a reason, in my opinion. But I'm also like, was there things that I did that like, or that you did or I did that made that happen? Yes. We were just given an opportunity. We were both placed in the same place at the same time. We were given the opportunity, but we actually did the work to like make it happen. But I think about like before I went to Europe, I was like in a pretty dark place. And that's like when Colleen said, like, you have to go through sadness to know what happiness is. I agree with that, but I also agree with what Julia said, because it's like, I decided to stop choosing to be sad. I said, you know what? I've had enough of this. I'm going to choose joy. I'm going to choose happiness, and I'm going to choose to focus on my goals and get me to where I want to go. So it's like, it's so cool because you're right. Like everybody can kind of have like a different perception of like one term. And yeah, it's so cool how we all think differently. And that makes us so special and so cool.
It's like, because like we all were on that boat, like the little charter boat, for example, but like if we weren't open to new experiences, it could have just ended at that, you know. It could have, and it even could have just ended at us having a good time on the boat. But I remember, like, I don't know if this is exactly how it went, but like I know that one thing on the trip was that I really wanted to be more outspoken and have more fun. Like it was definitely like influenced by like, you know, Julie and Colleen's like outgoing nature. I was like, I'm gonna just like ride with this for this trip. And I think I was one that was like, well, if you like have no one to eat with at dinner, like you can come eat with us. And like, would I have said that like normally? Like maybe not, I don't know. But it's like that thing where you're saying like, we have to do the work, but like sometimes the universe puts us in these situations and they're kind of like, are you going to take the leap to like seal the deal? I don't know.
Yeah. Are you gonna take this opportunity that I've given you? Who knows?
It's like,
And, like if we wouldn't have all, so we sat on the ferry boat over together, but when we were walking to get onto our actual boats for the excursion, we just all happened to stay together. And I don't even
we had to like regroup. I remember.
We had to make
I remember
groups.
that we were like, we gotta have 10 people, and we were like 10, like we all like us.
Us three were like, okay, we need to pick people that are gonna make the boat ride fun. And we're like, well, this girl is really cool and awesome.
I remember we had Mara, and we said like one word to Mara, and we were like, that girl's cool, get her on.
Yeah. And like it was just like we had that first boat ride with, we hung out with the rest of the cruise.
Yeah. And like so cool. It was so crazy because we don't even think about like how we could have impacted like all the other people's trips that we met and things like that. So it's
I
like
never thought about that. Yeah.
Oh, you totally made people's trips better.
I mean, I got a text from Kenney and Robin the other day being like, I watched Spirited Away and we thought of you and like wanted, and like they literally texted me like to say that. I was like, oh my God, like that's so cute. Like even just like the little people that like, I always think about this as an example of like just like being a girl's girl and having fun is like, for example, we met this like woman on the cruise. I think her name was Vicky. Like she was a hot mom. And
Vicky.
yeah,
Yes,
she was
Vicky.
there with like her daughter who was being like, hopefully she doesn't see this. I don't know if she ever would. She was being like a complete bitch and like wouldn't hang out with her mom and like wouldn't dance with her on the dance floor and everything. And so like we went out and like had a good time with her. And if you think about it, like we probably like she had so much fun on her vacation, like because we like let her have fun. And like it's like little things like that where you're like, wow, we are the universe.
Vicky yelled at her daughters to take pictures of us in Athens because she goes, "You take good pictures, they need good pictures." And let me say, she delivered.
Actually, those were like the best pictures we took. So yeah, they were. Shout out.
Like, shout out to
Vicky.
Vicky's daughter, and shout out to Vicky to bullying her daughter into taking pictures of us. Not bullying.
Shout out to bullying.
No,
Volunteering.
Volunmomming.
No, but it's like one thing I really noticed. So when we were in Argostoli and we were in the water, right? And when the cop came and all that jazz.
That was such. Wait, Selena, give a little background for the.
Yeah, tell the viewers about our Argostoli story. This is the culmination.
Let's tell them. First of all, these fine ladies convinced me to go on their excursion with them. And what was I going to say? No, absolutely not.
The last day.
It was the last day.
The last night of the cruise, we got her to go to the front desk and change her excursion to be with us.
She already had a booked excursion.
Yeah,
and we were like,
no,
nope,
we're like,
hang out with us.
Yeah.
And I was like, absolutely, you don't even have to convince me. I was like, I'm ready to do it. Let's go. And so we went to a bunch of caves. Do you guys like know the information about the caves? Do you want to give information about the caves?
I only remember the second one.
Well, that one was magical.
The first one. The first one was fun. That's when we posed as different stalactites.
Yes.
The first one we had to walk down like the steps and we could like walk around in it. But the second one was the boat one, right?
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, we went to these caves and then we got some Greek food. We shared the Greek food and then we wanted to go swimming. And so we were like, okay, well, let's go. I brought my bathing suit. They did not. So I changed into my bathing suit, but they're like, well, let's just go because we're here. And so then we jump in, we're all in, and we're like, let's see how many people we can get to join us. And
you were like full on dresses.
I was in a dress.
We were in dresses, skirts.
Kate was in a skirt.
Yeah.
They're in a cute shirt. Like they were fully clothed and they were like, yeah, let's do it. But I tell this story because I think like the vibe that you put out is what you will attract. So like you guys and like when I first met you guys just like, had this vibe of so much fun and like such positive energy. And then people will come to you when you are that happy and genuine. And then what did we end up with like 15 other people or something like that?
People jump in.
Yeah, we convinced them to come in.
And like people, there were so many different types of people too. There was like old men, like old
and we had
ladies.
this old lady sitting at the end announcing every person who jumped in the water.
Yeah.
We had these like gorgeous.
We got another one.
And, like we were in athletic dresses, but they were in like straight up
full
sundresses,
like
full
makeup,
and makeup, gorgeous hair, and they jumped in the water. Jewelry on, yeah. They jumped in the water. It was such a fun experience. And how you know we had fun is the cops showed up.
Yeah.
They're like, you guys are being way too loud, and we're like.
When the fun police,
like 4 o'clock.
It was not like a quiet hour. It was 4 o'clock in the water.
They were like, everyone's waking up right now. They're partying.
You guys need to be a little bit quiet. But anyways, that I was telling that story just because like your vibe that you send out attracts people to you. So I think that is like a really big lesson.
Selena, you're not giving yourself enough credit. It's your vibe too. Like, why do you think we're all here together? Why do you think we're all so close?
Yeah,
like,
you're the most easygoing, sweet person ever. We were literally like, Selena this, Selena that, and you were like, love it, let's go. What are you wearing? Like, are you kidding? Oh my God, wait a sec. What do you mean? Wait, what about this? What about that?
My itinerary?
You never overthought anything.
It takes a very special person to be able to vacation with us, not only just like on our little excursions, but everything in between, like our little nights out, you know, dealing with all that stuff. Like we had so much fun, and it's because of you. So
we love this group. Like the four of us was the perfect traveling group.
Yeah, like I genuinely really want to travel with you many more times.
Many more times.
Visit you.
Me as well, genuinely. Just send me the invite. Literally.
Yeah,
I
don't
will
tell Julia that. She will book us a vacation and then you will have to Venmo
request. Yeah.
I will do it anytime. I'm serious. Yeah. Okay, well, let's start to wrap this up. Sorry, guys, I've taken a lot of your guys' time. I hope you don't have
Love to gab.
But I ask 4 questions at the end of every interview, and I kind of want to ask you guys as well. So you can do it really quick or go into detail, whatever you want. So the first one is, what is the best advice you've received and from whom?
Okay, I'll go first because I have a quick one.
Okay.
So my dad told me that 30 seconds of embarrassment is worth anything. Like he said, you should do anything. And if you're going to be embarrassed for 30 seconds, that's fine. And the situation that comes to mind when I think of that example is when I was in 7th grade, I asked out this guy if he wanted to go on a date with me. And he said, no, I'm gay. And I said, and he said right after that, actually, I'm not gay. I just don't want to go out with you. Everyone was there. Everyone heard it. I was a little embarrassing, emo little 7th grader in Catholic school. It was very humiliating. However,
It brings me so much joy today.
after having that experience, I was just like, I didn't die. I can do anything. And
You are
to this day,
so
I am
brave
so
for that.
fine being embarrassed. Like I feel no shame. I feel nothing. Like, but not like I mean, I feel nothing in terms of like I'll live my own life. And if I think people are gonna think I'm embarrassing,
Psychopath.
whatever.
No feeling.
I actually love that. That's a great piece of advice. Just be you and don't feel ashamed of it.
Yeah, embarrassment is a cultural thing. You can outlearn it.
All right, I got one. All right, so my best friend from home, his name's Kurt. He was my sailing coach growing up. Would always yell at me to stop overthinking it, because like with everything in life, especially, I tend to overthink things. I tend to really analyze. Yeah, see, I
Really
really
the worst to sail with. She touches every control before a race unnecessarily.
I make them like change tension just to put it right back to the exact same. Because like for my personal life too, I overthink everything. And lately, like as I said, in the last like 8 months, I've been really trying to focus on my happiness. And if I'm happy, I'm done thinking about it. I don't need to think any further. Which like tune in a year if this bites me in the ass. Right now, I'm pretty happy.
She's homeless. She has no job. She's like, but I'm happy though.
Well, I'm happy. So
Aw.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. So your advice is to stop overthinking it.
yeah, and just like
Love it.
takes happiness.
I love it. Okay, Cait?
Thanks, Kurt.
I don't know how to say this in like a good way, but my advice that I got that like changed my life is to not be a hater.
No, I get that.
Like in generally speaking, I just think like it's kind of what we were talking about earlier is that like I used to see things and like sometimes your initial reaction is like ew or like cringe, and it's like, but people are just doing them and everything is so good. And the more you are like open to people being themselves, the deeper connections you'll have. Like if you close yourself off to things, like don't be a hater and like a closed-minded hater. Like that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I love it. Great advice. Okay, next question. What is the worst advice you've received?
Smile more, sweetie.
Pray.
Right.
Right. No.
Or the guy in the Munich airport.
Yeah.
Right. Dash Munich Airport. Man.
Slash all the priests growing up.
Mine would be every creepy man who ever told me to smile more or show a little more leg. No, that's
Oh God.
construction workers.
Well,
I used to manage
7-Eleven
the
was
7-Eleven.
different.
I
That
managed the
was
7-Eleven
different.
as contact.
They deserved a little more leg.
Oh my God, I have a good one. You know what I think is really bad advice? People say this all the time, and I think that they like mean well when they say it, but I hate when people say that you have to love yourself before anyone else can love you. I think that's bad advice because I think we are worthy of love at every stage of our lives.
Yeah.
Like no matter what, like, are you going to be able to get into a romantic relationship with someone if you have terrible, terrible self-esteem? No, that's obviously how it works. But like, I think that's a bad mindset is that like, you have to like, be
Thought about
really,
that way. That's a good point.
you know, I don't know. And like, I always thought about it that way. And I definitely think it's like good advice, you know, to give like young teenagers, you know, who like put their all into relationships and things like that. But like in the grand scheme of things, I feel like friendship wise, like when you get older, you realize that like people are just, you know, going through their own shit and like we should be there for them type of thing. That's my I can be deep.
No, that was good. That was no,
I like
you-
it. I really like it actually.
really good one. And this is so cliche. People say it all the time, but it's something that like I think about, especially when I'm like coaching little kids, is when it's just like such a cliche, but when people tell little girls that he's only mean to you because he likes you.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's a great one, actually.
There's like boils my blood when I hear, like, 'cause I still hear people saying that. Like, I hear other coaches saying it. I hear other parents saying it. No, parents, I'm not a parent. Parents saying it, like
Other parents at mommy
it
and
drives me
papa.
crazy because if someone doesn't treat you well, it's not because they like you. They are treating you poorly. They don't deserve your energy. They don't deserve your time, and they don't deserve your kindness. Actually, everyone deserves your kindness, but they don't deserve your energy or time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we can't raise young women to misinterpret
Abuse as love.
with like love. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Good one.
Dang, you guys are dropping the wisdom. Oh,
The only thing that really comes, I mean, I'm sure. Oh, actually, when people are like, oh God, honestly, what I was just thinking of is when people are like, oh, like you'll get through this, or like people are in a better, I don't know. Like the only thing that comes to mind is when my grandmother died. I really, really was sad, and I was just depressed about a lot of different things, and that was just one of them. And I hated when people are just like, oh, like I get it, like, I'm so sorry. Like, you know, every like kind of thing.
Everyone loses their grandparents.
Everyone loses their grandparents. I don't know. I think comforting people when there's a death, this is a very specific thing. This is honestly just the only thing that came to my mind. But I feel like people just always try to make it happy. And I think that people should just accept that for a lot of your life, you're going to be sad. You're not meant to be happy for your entire life. Like, you're going to be sad. There's going to be sad things that happen, and that's totally okay. That's totally part of life. And if we can just like accept that and recognize that sadness, I think it'd be a lot easier to get through versus being like, fuck, I got to be happy. Like, shit, like this is, you know, this happened, but I'm moving on because I'm strong. Like, you're just as strong if you're sad too.
Yeah, what's that phrase? Like toxic positivity or something?
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I do that.
The good vibes only sign behind Selina. She's like,
Me and Selina are like guilty.
I love good. I love it. But like, I don't know. That just really bothered me when I was really sad. So then now I try to think about that when other people go through it.
Yeah, you got to let people feel their emotions and not try to just make it all happy. Yeah.
Instead of being like, it's going to be fine, Julia. You should be like, you know, Julia, like, I know it's not fine right now, but I'm here for you type of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, exactly. It's just that small change that makes you feel less alone and crazy.
And heard.
Yes. And heard.
To be heard.
To be heard is the
Be
best.
heard.
To be heard.
She could be like,
all right. Two more questions. What advice would you tell your younger self or someone in the younger generation?
It's not a big deal. Nothing's a big deal.
Nothing's a big deal. Nothing is as big of a deal as you think it is. Julia asked the guy out. He said he was gay and then said, no, I'm not gay. I don't want to date you. And look at her now.
I'm perfect.
If you can overlook that,
It hasn't affected her at all.
you're fine. Nothing bad is going to happen to you.
Do you all collectively agree on that piece of advice?
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that like the feelings that you're feeling aren't valid, but like in like a year from now, like everything that happened in high school prior does not matter to me at all.
Oh yeah, that's the point. Your feelings in the moment are valid, but in 5 years they're not going to be valid.
I was so mad and angry and like going through high school as such like I have to do a million things so I can get into a good school and get a scholarship and set up my life and be successful and all of this. And when I think about high school now, I'm actually like, oh, I loved it. It was a great time. But when I really get into it, I'm like, nothing planned for myself turned out the way I planned. Nothing I planned for myself. So not that there's no point in planning. It's nice to think about your future and manifest, but there's no getting in the weeds. You just gotta let things go and keep taking opportunities as them.
Oh,
and you can't get set in one mindset. Really was saying, if you have a vision and it doesn't work out, like with my shoulders, with sailing, I had a vision, didn't work out. I did get a little stuck in that vision for a little bit.
I mean, obviously, that's your life's passion.
Yeah, but like, if it wasn't for Julia, Cait, all my amazing friends, I'm sure I would have been stuck in it longer. But there's no point if something doesn't work out to wallow. It's healthy to wallow a little bit, but there's only a healthy amount of wallowing. And then you cross the point where you're just being wallowy. And you don't want to.
Let yourself feel it and then pivot.
Don't be a wallower.
Don't wallow.
Don't wallow. That is my advice. Don't wallow.
When you go through like a breakup, you're like allowed to like eat ice cream and cry for like a period of time. You like should do that. You should feel it. And then you're like, all right, I got it out. You move on.
Exactly. Mic drop. There we go. All right, last one. What are you grateful for?
You guys.
Oh, definitely my girls.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm so grateful for you guys.
Would this be a girls episode if we weren't grateful for the girls?
Yeah.
Well, like genuinely, I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for my people. I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for the life that you guys give me.
I'm definitely grateful that whatever I want to do with my life, and I don't want to say do with my life, whatever I want and can do in this world, it's really nice to know that I can change that at any time, and the people I love around me will support me through that, and vice versa. Like it's really nice when you realize life is malleable, and as long as you're with those that you love, you can literally do whatever you want.
Yeah. Oh, so powerful.
That's good. Yeah. Retweet.
Fucking sweet. Yeah.
No, I'm grateful like for this podcast also, so we can all catch up too, because I have not seen Julia or Colleen since the end of our trip. You know,
No way.
Like even like
each other. No, we're in October. No, my September's pretty open.
No, well, Boston. We're all going to Boston for Halloween.
Yeah, if you're
Selena, if you're free
for
in
Halloween and want to go to Boston, we're
Grateful.
gonna get Halloween.
I'm grateful that the TS agent switched me and Julia's passports at the last check-in so that we
Yeah, wait, do you guys still have each other's passports?
Yeah, we still have
each other's passports.
Oh my gosh. What?
We didn't even realize until like 2 weeks after we got home, and I was literally going through myself, and I had to tell Julia, I was like, Julia, did you know that I had your passport?
Yeah, Julia's like, Kate has my passport. Like, where's yours?
Right?
Wait, can you
And then I
guys
thought I
fly
was-
like in the US without a passport?
Yeah, we have our
Yeah.
state IDs.
Okay, good. Okay. Well, you're fine then. You just
Yeah,
can't
oh yeah, we can't leave the country.
Canada.
We're stuck.
Yeah, we are stuck here, but until we see each other again.
Yes.
But we shouldn't be
At the airport and like to go somewhere and exchange them.
Yeah. That would work as well. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today and giving so much of your time. Sorry, we went a little bit over. I just love talking to you guys so much, and you guys just have the best energy, and I'm so grateful that I met you guys and
I'm so grateful I met you.
continue to learn and grow with you guys, and I can't wait to see what happens next.
Woo!
Me either, Selena. I'm so grateful I met you.